There's a ton of research that you can do to dive deeper into this subject as well as all the others in this course. But the point of this video is to give you the most effective and efficient information in regards to choosing the right bank and how to deal with your money while you're traveling. I will have an entire section on the private Facebook group where we can talk about different banking options, and in the next video we'll talk about what credit cards to choose. But in this video I want to give you some information to help you guys decide what is the absolute best possible bank account for you to have while you're traveling. Right off the bat, if you are an American citizen, I highly suggest that you get a Charles Schwab investor checking account. This is not sponsored, not affiliated. It is just the best banking account that I have found in the last 7 to 8 years of travel. There are no international transaction fees, market rate exchange rates, fraud protection, and they pay you back for all international ATM fees. And on top of that, when you call their customer service line, you actually get somebody on the phone, which is magical in this day and age. And over the past 6 years since I've opened this account, I haven't had one issue that I couldn't resolve over the phone. It is truly the best bank account I've ever had for traveling. And speaking of, I also have a Bank of America account. I also have an HSBC account, but I don't use those for travel simply because they're not very good and they charge a lot of fees. And if you're not an American citizen, that's okay. These are the 4 things that you should look for when choosing a bank account for travel. Number 1, make sure they have a market exchange rate, meaning you get the best possible currency conversion when you're taking money out of a local ATM when you're abroad, or when you're purchasing something in a foreign currency. Number 2, make sure they have no exchange rate fees. These will add up very quickly. Number 3, make sure there are no international transaction fees. If you have an international transaction fee, every time you use your card, you're going to get charged for it. And that adds up very quickly. And number 4, make sure that they cover you to some extent ATM fees. In many places around the world, ATM fees can be very steep. Luckily, for example, with the Charles Schwab card, they pay you back, but I know that there are other bank accounts around the world that allow you to forego that ATM fee. All right, now let's say you have your bank account all set up. Now, what is the best way to exchange money while you're traveling? And there's 4 things you need to keep in mind. Number 1, check the local exchange rate on xe.com or with the xe currency app. This will give you the most accurate market exchange rates in real time. Number 2, the best possible exchange rate is actually going to an ATM and taking out money from your bank card of your home bank. Now, this is assuming you went through the first steps and you got a card with no ATM fees and a market rate exchange. Now, number 3, and the second option after the ATMs, is going to a backstreet or black market exchange rate place. Now, these are a little more risky. Usually it's a guy with a handful of money that comes to you and says, hey, I'll give you an exchange rate. For this, proceed with extreme caution. You can definitely get ripped off in a moment's notice. Go with a local, make sure it's someone reputable, that he's always in the same area, so he's not just gonna grab your money and take off. So please proceed with caution with this recommendation. And the third option, where you really won't get the best conversion to local currency, is the traditional brick and mortar exchange rate places, the stores, the hubs, the stalls, and they'll usually say no commissions in big letters to get you excited, make you feel like you're actually getting something out of the deal, but the truth is, use this as your last resort. And even furthermore, whatever you do, at all costs, avoid exchanging money in airports. These will give you the absolute worst conversion rates possible. Aside from a guy coming up in the street and taking your money, airport exchange rate places are terrible. All right, you have your bank account set. You figured out how to take out money in the best possible way. The third thing is how to protect your money. Now, I don't have a jacket with the 30 different pockets or hidden pants or anything like that. I just, if I have cash on me or if I have multiple cards, which I travel with, and I'll get into that, I put them in different places around my suitcase. I put them in hidden compartments in my backpack. And if I check into an Airbnb or a hotel or hostel, I make sure to always stash them in locked places away from anyone being able to find it. And if I'm out exploring or traveling around for the day, I never carry all of my valuables on me at one time. I only take the cash that I need for this particular day and maybe one card and one credit card. That's all I bring with me, because in case of any robbery, you are more likely to give off the property that you have without hesitation, without any trouble, knowing that you have the majority of your value, of your monetary value, back in a safe location. The second way of protecting your assets is do not log into your bank information from a public computer. Unless you have a secure password manager, do not do it. Wait until you get secure Wi-Fi, wait until you are in private, and you can get onto your computer securely. Number 3, make sure you call and notify your bank before you leave. There's nothing worse than going in a foreign place, trying to use your card and have it frozen, waiting for a few weeks to then have a new card brought in or shipped to you. Trust me, I've been there. It is a nightmare, so make sure you notify your banks before you leave and let them know where you're going to be going. Number 4, always keep your card in sight. So if you're paying at a restaurant and they have a device, go with your card. If they said, I'll be right back, I'm gonna go run your card, make sure you go with it and you watch them. This greatly decreases your risk of having your card scanned in one of those fraud scanner devices where they strip out all your information. And just a few extra miscellaneous things to think about in terms of banking. Number 1, don't worry about setting up a local bank account if you don't plan on becoming a permanent resident of the country. Stay with your local bank and just use the ATMs and be smart about your international spending, transaction fees, and what we just talked about. And the second thing is make sure you set daily limits on your debit card. This prevents someone from going to an ATM and taking out all the money in your account. So with that being said, let's keep moving.